He has a 1-1 count. That one's struck high. Left side. That one's going. That's out of here off the line. You have got to be kidding me. Fireworks. Here you go.
Welcome everybody to your new and weekly special editions of High and Tight. We've got rankings. This video specifically Class 2A, as Andrew's showing off his special little High and Tight thing. I like that. But hey, Class 2A, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got six new teams in this week's Class 2A poll, and we've got a team that jumped 10 spots and a team that jumped 11 spots. That is crazy. So we've got a ton to talk about for Class 2. Again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. YouTube rankings will be free every single Monday. We're going to release these on Rockfin first, though, so that's where you can catch it. If you want to beat us to the punch and go see where your team lands, but hey, YouTube, we're here to plug you guys all season long. Let's get right into it, though, Andrew. 16 through 11, our Class 2A ranker does give you guys an extra little bonus team. So 16 through 11, and that number 16 team, Unity Christian. Andrew, you even said before our show, you're like, man, I'm glad our 2A ranker put them in. Why do you say that?
Well, I like the body of work that they have, and honestly, when you look at what Unity Christian has done, they're sitting there and they're a top 10 team, I believe, in pitching overall, and they've silently kind of put on this what's been a very fun group for them. I looked at that as a team that's got to be one of my top teams here, especially as we go through. It's again fun group. They've put in some good work. They've had some big wins here. So honestly, I will not discredit what Unity Christian is doing right now because they have a lot going out of the Siouxland Conference. Again, like I mentioned, technically tied for ninth in strikeouts right now already. And you know what? What more can you like about what the squad is doing? I know that they've jumped around a couple classes here over the last how many years, but they are owning what they're doing right now. And again, as I just make sure bring up the schedule and make sure I have it all right. I mean, what's the slate they've gone up against? Esterville, Lawton Bronson. They've gone up against Marcus Meriden Claycorn, West Sioux. And here's the kicker here. The last two games, Kingsley Pearson and a 7-1 victory over Remsen St. Mary's. When's the last time that you, Kate, or anybody right now can tell me that Remsen St. Mary's was defeated that by 6 or 5 or more runs? Let's say that. I can't, off the top of my head, remember when. I know it's happened, but that's how rare it has been. You get a team that beats Remsen St. Mary's like that, and then you're cooking with Crisco, I'd say.
Absolutely. Moving on up the rest of our rankings here, Pleasantville, they drop 8 spots, a team I saw in person. Really enjoy Pleasantville. Their only 2 losses thus far are to ranked teams, so not really panic mode, I'd say, at all for the Trojans, more just those early season movement. Starma and OABCIG both join the ranks. Roland Story, they hold that spot after falling to Van Meter and Johnston. Can't really knock them too much here. They'll hold down that number 12 spot. And at number 11, I-35, they're a team I went down and saw. I want to say thank you to I-35 for having me down. Our first like team that's like booked us, I guess you could say, as IABaseball. Super cool for us to see that interest really expanding. So I appreciate I-35, and hey, they played extremely well. They kind of beat up on a West Central Valley team that has been some good competition for them in the past. But man, the Roadrunners are just off to an incredible start. They lead 2A with a 581 on base percentage. You're going to win a lot of games when you get on over half the time. But Interstate 35, they're optimistic. They're there. I was there the day before they played Van Meter. They're optimistic going into that game. And hey, I mean, a 3-6 loss to a top 5 team in Class 2A, especially, I know that was a team that beat them to go to state last year and beat them pretty handily. So a good early season measuring stick for the Roadrunners. Again, just want to say thank thank you to I-35. Those guys will always have a special little place in my heart for being the first team to have me down. But I-35 deservedly so, hopping into our top 16 at number 11 this week. Hey, Andrew, let's get into the top 10, though, where we've got movement on every single slot here, including our first team that you can see that jumped 10 spots. Pella Christian. My goodness, they are off to a tear, aren't they, Andrew?
Oh my gosh. And again, yes, they've had some losses here, but let's be honest, this is a team that continues to bring a lot of good competition with it. It's very fun that ultimately we look at this team and go, yeah, they've had some two big losses, but they're still worth it. And I will say that our 2A ranker was one of the few individuals to give Pella Christian their fair shake last year. And it was very well warranted. I mean, in the end, this is a team currently right now that will be one of the first two to breach 100 strikeouts on the season. They're already at 82, and you think, man, Westerkamp and all those guys from last year are gone, but what are they doing? They're still doing some good things. Now, they might be a live by the sword, die by the sword kind of a team. In the end, I think that until Pella Christian proves that they are, I guess it doesn't matter their win-loss record for me until they prove to me that they have lost in the postseason, they are no longer able to play. Then I will say, okay, yep, they're out, and I'll move on. But until then, the 2A ranker has me hooked on Pella Christian, and I can't get off. And I think they're well deserved to be in that spot right now. And they're making it happen. Teams aren't hitting very much against them, just over 230. So it's hard for programs to get anywhere. You mentioned get on base. If you can't get on base, then you're not going to be able to do much. And so Pella Christian, for the most part, I will say, has been able to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, wins over Pleasantville and West Marshall in the same week will deservedly so rocky up the rankings, and that's what we're seeing right here. A few new teams, though, hopping into our rankings here inside the top 10. Spirit Lake, they enter with a 5-0 mark. They got a 8-0 win over West Lyon, who was previously ranked, so they kind of almost trade spots. They knock West Lyon out of the rankings. Spirit Lake hops back in. And Osage, they start with a 3-0 record, all won by double digits. I mean, Osage obviously always a team that's playing good ball in the summer, and deservedly so, hopping in our top 10. At number 8, Mid Prairie, they dropped 2 spots. The only loss for them so far is to Atumwa, so nothing like drastic here. I mean, that's a 4A school, obviously, so Mid Prairie kind of just taking that early season loss, and those early season losses kind of hurt you more now rather than later. And then West Marshall, obviously losing to Pella Christian, you kind of had to slot them right below the Eagles. So West Marshall, obviously a really good team. I had a ton of fun watching them in person, so no reason to panic there. But hey, let's get into the top 5, Andrew, for Class 2A. Leading off with number 5. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Number 5, Van Meter. A really good week last week. 5-0. They take down Roland Story and Interstate 35. So they've already started building up their wins over ranked teams. Van Meter is just proven themselves as another contender in Class 2A.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like a broken record. We say things like this, Van Meter this, Van Meter that, but they're already top 5 in strikeouts. They're top 10 in stolen bases. And, of course, their hitting is on board. I love what their coaching staff has year in and year out, what they do. They bring these guys and they take them up to another level. I love everything that's going on with Van Meter. And I think everyone should really take notice. Again, they're not always going to be flashy. Again, they're right about mid-20s in terms of their rank, in terms of batting average. But overall, I think what we saw last year in a team that was, again, top 10 batting average balls in play, when they do put bat to ball and it gets in play, man, more often than not, it's going to get there and it's going to find its way onto the base path. So, they may be a little down in terms of household names that we're used to from, the Plague and Cools, the Moores of the world. But in the end, I think that a down year for Van Meter is a great year for most teams. So Yeah, I think that you have to keep saying it because every year is a different year. Van Meter's certainly proven that they're once again back in the top 10 consideration.
Absolutely. I see no signs of them hopping out of our top five anytime soon. But hopping into our top four, at number four, you always talk about the teams that are excellent on the base paths, Andrew, and Esterville Lincoln Central is just that. 37 stolen bases already. The midgets are
Yeah.
off to a hot start.
Oh yeah, and the fact that the matter is they're raking it in top five in RBIs. How easy is it to get an RBI when you have a guy in scoring position right off the bat? I mean, that's always easy. It's and I guess I should say not always easy. You have to earn it, and they sure do. But an on base clip of over 400, you get that mark, and gosh, this team is going to find a way to put pressure on you, right? And how many times do we see the pitcher get rattled and it's just a concrete mixer of a ball heading into the strike zone, and that gets jacked up for at least double, if not triple or more. So uh, I see in their future potential back conference titles here, and the way that they're playing, I don't see how that can stop. I love it, and they're doing a fantastic job, and they're playing the competition they need to make that happen. So, yeah, ELC, one of the best mascots in the game right now, and I don't see that stopping.
Yeah, he's flexing pretty strong there, and that represents their season pretty well. But hey, we've got a team that jumped 11 spots in this week's rankings, and that is this team here at number three, Des Moines Christian. My goodness, we've liked this team preseason. We know they're youthful. We didn't know how the youth would play. You never know guys and their experience, but man, they are out of the gates and they are rolling. 9-5 win over Kemper, and then they run ruled Colfax, Mingo, Earlham, and Pella Christian, all 10 plus runs. You talk about those dominant wins. They've got many of those already. A big week, though, this week. I mean, Interstate 35, a new ranked team. They've got Beckman Catholic and Grandview Christian. Des Moines Christian, early jump into our top five. They've got a good test this week. Andrew, what are you enjoying so far about the Lions?
I like the fact that this team has been waiting in the wings, and now guess what? They are here. And you mentioned the schedule that they went up against, and just think about this for a second. Just 18 strikeouts offensively. They have had just 18 strikeouts against that competition, and that continuing on here. I mean, they're third in slugging. I mean, you think about that. That's a holistic team right there, offensively, and of course, you mentioned defensively what they've been able to do. Yeah, this team finds the ball, they make it happen, and they put pressure on every facet of the game for opponents. I don't care who you are, you get that pressure from all angles, you're going to crack a little bit. And Des Moines Christian has proven they're one of the teams that will take advantage of that cracking the most. So I love it. I love their coaching staff. I love what they've got going there. Great field, by the way. I love the chance to broadcast at their field, and so they're a team that last year I don't think lived up to the potential that they had or that they wanted to for any means, but they're making it do here, and I think that this team is a perennial power. And we're saying, hey, last year is a fluke. We can say that about a program like Des Moines Christian. Last year, a fluke, even though it wasn't a bad year. So, hey, we're gonna buckle up and get ready for Des Moines Christian to make some big waves here.
Absolutely. No change though at number two or number one. We'll talk briefly. Beckman Catholic, a clean week. Hey, we talked about them last week. Their first 8 games this year are on their home turf. They will finally hit the road this week to Northeast. And like we said, the big tournament this kind of weekend. I mean, they're in a tournament with Des Moines Christian, Grandview Christian, and Beckman Catholic. That's a big day right there with a lot of ranked
Boy,
teams going around
UIO
the.
baby.
Oh yeah, going around the round robin or however they do that. But Beckman Catholic off to a good start.
Yep.
Tested themselves early. They're the team we thought. And then Underwood at number one. Not much sample size. They beat Missouri Valley 20-0 combined, perfect game. I mean, we've talked about Underwood so much. We don't need to rattle off on them as we don't really have a ton. I mean, our ranker even says some teams were starting to contend for this top spot, but we know Underwood. We know what they brought back. We know what they're going to be like this year. So until Underwood takes himself out of the number 1 spot, it's going to be hard for anyone to kind of take over that spot, Andrew. But hey, Class 2A fans, appreciate you for tuning in. Got in and out in about 15 minutes, which is what we like. Go check out the other rankings. Go drop a comment, whether you agree, disagree, wherever you're tuning in from, who's your squad, all that good stuff. We hope this kind of makes your Monday and your Memorial Day weekend a little better as we hit the normal work week starting tomorrow. But hey, 2A fans, we'll catch you next time.